So SafetyWallet's got what we call a triple P program. It's policies, procedures, and practices. And that we've developed in such a way that we look after compliance, but more importantly is to focus on building culture and building the right mindset behind health and safety.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of My Safety Hub, where we delve into the world of occupational health and safety. Today we're joined by Leon, CEO, and John, Operations Director for SafetyWallet and MAKROSAFE, to talk about their journey and how they're shaping the health and safety landscape in Southern Africa. Their journey started in 1997 with a vision of making health and safety compliance accessible for all employers in South Africa. Hello, John and Leon.
Good morning, Orchid.
Hi, Orchid.
It's good to have you here. I'm going to jump straight into the questions, if you don't mind. First of all, in 2017, you revisited your true purpose and core values. Can you tell us more about this process and what you discovered?
Thank you, Orchid. Yes, 2017 was a big year for us. That's the year that SafetyWallet was born as well. Looking back at 1997, as you've mentioned, MAKROSAFE's existence started then with the purpose of ensuring a safe workplace for all and at an affordable price. In 2017, we decided that we want to revisit our purpose for two reasons. The one is to look at it and still make sure that it's core to what our vision is. And then secondly, that all our staff over the last 20 years that formed a part of the company, that they still believe in what we believe in. And that's the reason that we looked at it. And we then decided in 2017 that our core purpose is we believe in making sure that your loved ones return home healthy and safe after work. And out of that purpose, SafetyWallet was born to make sure that we keep our promise of 1997 of affordable health and safety for commerce and industry.
Yeah. Yes, Leon. And we reminded of our importance of having a clear purpose linked to our values. It helps us stay focused, committed, and accountable to our visions and missions for the two separate companies.
Well, that's interesting. Can you share with us the vision and mission of SafetyWallet and MAKROSAFE?
Okay, yes. On SafetyWallet side, it's as pure as you get, in the sense that we want to influence the mindset of industry and commerce out there by continuously influencing the behaviors that's taking place in the workplace. The mission as such is SafetyWallet wants to be the catalyst in mindset change by incentivizing and rewarding the behaviors that are taking place in the workplace.
Yes, thank you, Leon. And then on the MAKROSAFE side, the vision is to become the health and safety accountability partner with SafetyWallet to our clients, positively influence health and safety culture and cultivate our health and safety culture, and ultimately improving compliance to legislation. The mission of MAKROSAFE is then to identify unsafe conditions, behaviors, develop and implement solutions based on the client's needs, and then encapsulate all that in the world-class health and safety management system.
Well, that's fantastic. I can see how your vision and mission align with your core purpose and values. But what role does attitudes, beliefs, and values play in building a culture of health and safety?
Okay, yes, that's the exciting part. You know, when back in 2017, when we revisited our purpose, this was our core how can I say it, focus point as such. We, how do we change things on the work floor? How do we change the mindset of industry and commerce as such? And lots of hours of consulting and brainstorming and things around mindset. I came to the conclusion that your thoughts and your thinking plays a huge role in your attitude of health and safety. Your attitude forms your beliefs in health and safety. This in turn forms your perception in risk. Our perception has everything to do with the choices we make on a daily basis and the and the behaviors that we exhibit in the workplace. This is what makes SafetyWallet, the SafetyWallet program so exciting. We continuously influencing the thought patterns of health and safety in the workplace.
I could not agree more, Leon. Our attitudes, beliefs, and values influences our action, and that's why it's important to cultivate a positive health and safety culture. By doing so, we can encourage and reinforce health and safety behaviors, leading to improved health and safety compliance and a safer workplace for all.
So, at the core of everything that you do lies the belief that every person deserves to return home healthy and safe after work, which is obviously now your purpose. So that's what drives MAKROSAFE and SafetyWallet to continuously improve and provide the best health and safety solutions possible to your clients.
By creating a positive health and safety culture where safe behaviors are incentivized and rewarded, we believe we can influence change in health and safety mindset and make a real difference in people's lives.
All right, so far we've spoken about how attitudes, beliefs, and values play a crucial role in creating a culture of health and safety in the workplace. But what about our daily choices? Essentially, our habits. How do they fit into the picture?
Okay, yes. Our daily choices play a huge role in our attitudes, beliefs, and values. Your choices either influence your behaviors in a positive way or in a negative way. And that is why it's essential to be mindful of your choices that you make daily in health and safety.
Yes, Leon. When it comes to health and safety in the workplace, small daily choices can have a big impact. For example, choosing to follow the proper lifting techniques or reporting a potential hazard can contribute to a safer work environment. On the other hand, neglecting to wear PPE or personal protective equipment or ignoring safety protocols can put others at risk.
So that's interesting, and it's definitely a fresh approach to an industry which is largely seen as a grudge purchase. But let's talk about the unique aspects of SafetyWallet's rewards program. As you've mentioned, it's based on behavior-based economics, which is new to the health and safety industry. Can you tell us more about how this rewards program influences people daily and their choices with regards to health and safety?
Okay, yeah. It's how do we change behavior at the end of the day? How do we bring the mind to think of health and safety and the choices you make on a daily basis? And that's the rewards program. We incentivize employers, and at a later stage we're going to start incentivizing the employees as well in focusing on or making them more aware of making the right choice and having a reward in place for when that choice has happened. Those rewards then at the end of the day would be in the form of discounts on a compliance basis, or it can be, not or, it can be both. It can be your discounts as well as your contractor management system where you get rewarded for being proactive in that sense as well. We feel by making safety tangible, with tangible rewards, we encourage individuals to make positive health and safety choices at the end of the day.
Yeah. To add to what Leon said, this has a significant impact on the overall health and safety culture in a workplace. By incentivizing positive health and safety behaviors, We're not only creating a safe work environment, but also fostering a culture of safety where individuals take responsibility for their actions and the safety for those around them.
It's a great point, John. It's not just about that one-time commitment. By rewarding individuals for making the right health and safety choices, we instilling accountability with those individuals. We're encouraging development of long-term habits in the workplace by rewarding them for the choices they're making at the end of the day. With the SafetyWallet rewards program, we're working towards compliance, but at the same time, we're changing mindset in the workplace towards health and safety. By incentivizing and rewarding positive health and safety behaviors, we're cultivating a workplace where individuals are motivated to make the right choices.
Absolutely. This in turn leads to improved compliance with health and safety regulations as individuals are more aware of their actions and the impact they have on the workplace. The rewards program is an essential component of SafetyWallet's mission to influence a positive health and safety mindset and improve health and safety compliance across all industries.
So if I understand you correctly, the rewards program is not just about discounts. And I suppose that's probably one of the biggest magnets for employers out there is to pay less and to get more. But there's also the aspect which is strongly being focused on with regards to the culture of safety and promoting positive health and safety behaviors on a daily basis. So with SafetyWallet's unique approach, you're not only making health and safety compliance affordable, but you're also creating a safer and healthier future for everybody. In essence, making safer choices consistently leads to safer habits, but more importantly, it also leads to a different way of thinking, specifically about health and safety, shaping a mindset focused on health and safety. And by having a collective to do so, in other words, having a collective, everybody in the team, all your employees do the same thing, in this regard, you're actually creating that health and safety culture in the workplace.
I agree, okay. It's all about, you mentioned it right in the beginning, health and safety is a grudge purchase. But it's how do you change mind? How do you work towards something better, something more exciting? How do we get people not to think of the grudge as such at the end of the day? And by implementing the SafetyWallet program, you're working towards and you're changing mindset in that process.
I see. And then obviously the big element, looking at the behaviors where most of the unsafe acts come from, is to create habits that are safer. And in that, you're creating a safer workplace. But you're also instilling positive health and safety values that can be carried beyond the workplace, improving overall health and safety well-being in the community.
Agreed, Orchid. So let's make a commitment to being mindful of our daily choices and making a positive health and safety a part of our daily lives. By doing so, we can create a safer and healthier future for ourselves and for the people around us.
Oh, that's a great point, and I think it's a good commitment to make. It's clear that SafetyWallet and MAKROSAFE are committed to making a positive impact on the health and safety landscape in Southern Africa. On the surface, though, what we've discussed so far sounds wonderful, but there seems to be a lot more to it. Creating buy-in from employees also requires good leadership and a visible commitment from those leaders towards whatever change they are creating in the workplace. Because as soon as you start creating a new culture, be it now a health and safety culture, you're replacing it with, or you're replacing the existing culture. Can you tell me about how this culture creation is driven and structured with the clients that you serve?
Okay, yes. The Triple P plays a huge role in this whole exercise. So SafetyWallet's got what we call a triple P program. It's policies, procedures, and practices, and that we've developed in such a way that we look after compliance, but more importantly is to focus on building culture and building the right mindset behind health and safety. The policies at the end of the day is our focus point for getting management involved, and getting commitment and directive from management as such. Then we go over to the procedures, and the procedures are where the techie hits the ground, as they would say, and where the actual work needs to happen. And that's more so where the behaviors are then monitored on a daily basis. Those behaviors are monitored by OSHA Online, which is our cloud-based management system. MAKROSAFE also gets involved in that process, where they do on-site consultations, on-site visitations, and they monitor the physical behaviors of individuals, of employees as such. Those all we then take back to what does our policy say at the end of the day, and we then show management where the policies are failing in a sense, and then we look at what we call an influence diagram. We look at ways where we can then influence via communication, listen and learn. We've got a few aspects in that diagram as such that we then look at, and we look at ways on how can we influence the guys on the floor, the guys and the girls on the floor, in getting the right mindset, and ultimately then getting the compliance through on that basis.
Yeah, Leon, that is so crucial. And just to reiterate what Leon said, the Triple P also gives management the opportunity to show their commitment toward the process with approval of the policies, which is then followed by the procedures required out of those responsibilities. The practices is then where the individual employees get involved with safe work procedures that needs to be executed in line with the procedures as directed by the policies laid down by management. So as much as it's a top-down strategy, it's also a bottom-up strategy, and everyone has a role to play towards its success and living out their true purpose.
Well, that's really insightful. And I think with the points that we've discussed so far, I can see how the triple Ps would influence behaviors, habits, and ultimately the way that people think about their job, and health and safety with relation to that job, with a structure that's now been put behind it. So let's discuss the triple Ps. The first question I have in this regard is, why would an employer choose to go with the triple Ps rather than follow the rule book, which is the Act and its regulations?
Well, yeah, okay, from a triple P perspective, if the rule book is also a set of directives as such. What we've done with the triple P is we've put structure to it to make it more than what legislation says. We made it exciting. We brought in all aspects of change management and mindset change in that regard. And we're focusing on identifying the behaviors in the workplace that are not compliant, if I can say it in that sense. And then how can we form behaviors or habits out of those behaviors that serves us, where the rule book at the end of the day is not the directive, but it's the mindset that drives us in wanting to be safe, and not a stick behind us saying that we've got to be safe at the end of the day.
I see. I think also another question which is with relation to an item that we touched on in another session or interview that we had, was something that you mentioned with regards to the influence diagram. Can you tell me about the influence diagram and how is it applied in this process for and with the triple Ps?
Well, we call it an outward mindset at the end of the day, so you've got to have an outward mindset, and by saying that, you've got to go through a few aspects of forming that outward mindset as such. One of them would be to listen and learn. To teach and communicate would be another. The bottom line is, out of the influence diagram, you want to bring change to the workplace, and you've got a sequence of events that you've got to work through to make sure that you've ticked all the boxes in ensuring that you've tried everything from your side to bring change in place. At the end of the day, attitude plays a huge role in this whole aspect, and you would get individuals out there that would not want to comply or do not want to be part of your culture, and you would need to discipline them at the end of the day with disciplinary action. But you've got to first be as outward as possible, and from a triple P perspective, we've instilled those tools so that we can make sure that we've covered all our boxes to change mindset at the end of the day.
Yeah, Leon, just to add on what you said, the old way of thinking is that if something went wrong, you would want to go and straight to the point and correct it, not knowing how the other person perceives this problem to be, and hence why we put this structure in place to listen and learn, to find out from that person how do they perceive these things to be, then teach and educate, and then you go through all these tiers before you get to where you want to be. But if we just go from what is not right in the workplace and just go straight to correcting, the people working on the floor, where the tacky hits the tar, like Leon said, sometimes don't see or perceive the hazards or the risks from your side. They see it from a different side. Hence why there has to be an interrelationship with all of these people to make sure that the culture actually grows from the bottom, and it's enforced from top down but grows from bottom up.
John, if I can just barge in there, we spoke about attitude, beliefs and values, and knowing that health and safety is a grudge as such. If you always move immediately to the correct phase, and you don't tick the boxes with from a change management perspective, the odds are that grudge would remain there, and it would be a behavior-based program where you giving attention to the behavior, but you're not giving attention to the mind as such. And we want to change the mind by looking at the behavior, forming new habits, and changing mind in that process. But by working with the stick and looking at behaviors and correcting, you've got a health and safety program only for one day. You don't have a health and safety program tomorrow because you don't know what those behaviors would be tomorrow. And if you don't have the necessary controls in place to make sure that that is happening, the odds are that your program is going to fall flat tomorrow. With the triple P system, we're looking at long-term solutions. We're looking at changing mindset, forming new habits long-term. And that's ultimately what we want to achieve.
Now that's interesting. I'm aware of the fact that the triple Ps are available to all of the SafetyWallet subscribers as part of their subscription. John, if I may ask you, How does the operational team, both on MAKROSAFE and SafetyWallet side, implement these triple Ps, keeping in mind the change management that has to take place with the influence diagram?
Okay, thanks, Oka. Thanks for asking the question. The triple P, the policy, obviously, all the SafetyWallet subscriber, everybody that's a member has access to this on our doc system, on OSHA Online, our health and safety management system. The management, the directing board of directors need to obviously approve the policies. From there, the policies is then implemented, uploaded back onto the system for the client. We then go and assist them. If the policy needs rewriting and all that, MAKROSAFE will go out and then obviously assist the people to rewrite it to make it company specific. And then we upload it onto the system. Then that thing, the policy needs to be enforced. That's where the procedures come into play. The procedures are then also rolled out to all the different role players, supervised management, all that, what every role player's duty is in that. And then from there, the system starts kicking in, where we actually do give the training, do toolbox talks, put the safe operating procedures in place. Should something happen, we go back to the policy to see what has failed in the policy, to correct it, to make sure that the same instance won't happen again in future.
Okay, so you've mentioned two things now that point directly towards health and safety compliance. You mentioned toolbox talks and safe operating procedures. So I gather that the triple Ps will have a direct influence on the client's health and safety compliance overall.
Oh, definitely. The whole compliance is linked to all the policies. So all findings that's made when you do inspections or audit takes place or whatever, links back to a policy. So if something happens, let's say you drive a forklift and an accident happened. What does your forklift policy state? And then you go back and see, okay, where was the gaps in the policy? What do we need to fix to ensure that this doesn't happen? So there's a trail going back back and forth to ensure that that's in place the whole time. Should everything be in place according to the policy, obviously you're going to be compliant, not only legally compliant, but you're going to have a safe workplace as well.
Okay. So, and this is for both yourself, John, and for Leon. Health and safety audits have always been both a hot potato and the go-to kind of service that employers would be looking for to test whether their health and safety program is effective, or at least to determine where they stand at this point in time towards compliance. How are your health and safety audits applied with the influence of these triple Ps that you've made available to all of the subscribers?
Well, okay, John, if I can kick off with this one. The triple P is a system. So you implementing a system, a management system as such. You've got to go through you've got to jump through all the loops and making sure that those policies are implemented. In other words, that management or the CEO signs off those policies. And thereafter, you would then implement the procedures. Those procedures then tell us what need to happen on the work floor. So when we come in and we do an audit, we measure those procedures in seeing, are they effective? Are they working the way they should be working? If not, the observations would be made against those procedures, against the policy at the end of the day. And then we look at what we call a continuous improvement cycle on that process, on how do we improve those as such. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, that's where the behaviors come in and all those things come in, because 88% of your accidents happen because of unsafe behaviors taking place in the workplace. And you've got to focus on those, and we focus on those by the influence diagram in making sure that we change mind in that process and bring that continuous improvement in place to the policy as such. But in short, it's a systems audit. You're looking at where the system fails, and you look at ways on how can you improve that system so that it doesn't fail at the end of the day.
Yes, Leon. If I could add on to that, Okkert, you've been around the health and safety fraternity for some time now. Now, I'm sure you've come across a couple of different audits. Some people use a checklist to do an audit and not a full-blown audit as such. For us to determine if your health and safety system is working, we have to take it back to the policies and to the procedures and to the practices. And in that way, it's the only way we can ensure that you've got a full system that's compliant, not only to legislation, but to ensure a safe workplace.
I see. Just referring back to the subscribers having access to the triple Ps. Since SafetyWallet is very much a do-it-yourself type of subscription where you have access to OSHA Online, so you can do your own risk assessment, you can create your own appointment letters, you can do your own inspections on the mobile application. I gather that these triple Ps will also be available to the subscriber to implement themselves. Is that correct? And how do you support the client in that regard if they wish to apply these triple Ps themselves?
Okay, yes, from a SafetyWallet perspective, the subscriber or the employer would subscribe. There's currently 170 policies and procedures available as templates for the subscriber. With that, there's e-learning. There's a whole lot of tools available to support the triple P as such. So the employer would subscribe. They would have access to the policies and procedures. They obviously would start off with the policies, in custom making the policies applicable to themselves. And then from there the rest will kick in. The support side of that is we've got online videos showing them how to custom make those policies and procedures, and then we've got telephonic support where we would support the individuals telephonically, and then if need be they can book consultations. And an individual would go out and assist them on site with customizing those policies. I think the important part that I've just got to mention in that part is that a company would have an administrator in OSHA Online, and the administrator would be able to customize those policies. But only the CEO can sign off those policies. Nobody in the organization can sign off those policies but the CEO. Thereafter, once the policies are signed off, the procedures applicable to those policies then kick in. And if it's just one branch, the administrator or the coordinator of that branch would then be able to customize the procedures accordingly to support the policy. If there's multiple branches involved within the organization, that administrator would then push through those procedures to the various branches, as well as the policies. But the policies you won't be able to edit those policies. That only happens at one central point. But each branch would then be able to customize their policy, their procedures as such.
Okay. I just want to take a step back towards what you've mentioned with regards to habits being monitored in the workplace, aiming towards creating a health and safety culture. And you mentioned that in one of our previous sessions, you mentioned that OSHA Online plays a big role there. So how does OSHA Online make the employer or your client aware of these unsafe habits or unsafe practices that are happening on the floor, per se?
Well, OSHA Online is a management system. So you know, the saying goes, garbage in, garbage out. So firstly, you've got to make sure that your system is set up 100% according to what your needs are. There's everything to do with health and safety is in OSHA Online. You would then set those registers up, you would set those inspections up, you would obviously do your risk assessment before doing all of that, and then based on that, the rest is triggered. The system itself is triggered. When must the inspections happen? When must this happen? When must that happen? And your committee as such would then take responsibility for that. Your appointees would take responsibilities for that. And then from there, the health and safety management system would run itself. You would then get your prompts out of that, notifying you of what needs to happen and when it needs to happen. And then you've just got to keep your finger on the pulse in making sure that those daily habits are formed and that the activities are executed at the end of the day.
Well, that's fantastic. I think the only question that I've got left with regards to OSHA Online, John, if I can direct this question at you, is speaking about those prompts that Leon now mentioned. In what form or shape do they come towards the subscriber or your client to create that awareness of corrective action to be taken?
Yeah, look, OSHA Online, like Leon said, a system is only as good as the person working with a system. So if you put in your correct system, you set up your inspections correctly, it will prompt you on the dates and all that. And then obviously, in any good system, you need a corrective action procedure to follow to make sure that should something be found not in place or whatever, that you correct this. So the occupational the OSHA Online system is when you set up your checklist and you find findings where you mark a no, whatever, and you make your note of what you found wrong. It pulls through to an AR. We call it an AR on our system, which is for action request, pulls through to a report, and all the ARs goes through into one centralized point. So when anyone wants to see the status of what your health and safety system is like, you can go and pull the AR report, and that will tell you what are all your findings, where you need to focus on. You can take it to the health and safety committee, tell the people what needs to be done. If there's a budget approval that needs to be done for certain engineering controls to be put in place, or whatever, that will be your go-to, your corrective action plan to work from there.
Okay.
If I can just barge in there, sorry man, I know you've got something on your mind, but Johnny now mentioned the action requests as such. It's important to remember that those action requests are directly linked to our policies. So when action is generated, it would tell you where the policy is failing and what needs to happen on those policies. So we've got two. The foundation is the Occupational Health and Safety Act. It's the bylaws, it's the national standards. All those things are sitting in the back of OSHA Online. Out of that, we wrote policies and procedures. So when an action request is generated, it would tell us the mistake or the observation made is in general safety regulations. We then know what policies are how can I say, is compromised as such, and then based on that, you would then put your actions in place on changing mindset from that perspective.
All right, so that's really interesting, but I think there's still the point that you made, Leon, with regards to garbage in, garbage out. And unless, someday in the near future, OSHA Online is able to conduct these checks itself, like some of the software packages we've been made aware of over the last few months, there's always the question of the trust with regards to the information that is placed into OSHA Online. In other words, the data that you pull in through your inspections, and whether you can trust that information. So how does SafetyWallet and MAKROSAFE then support those clients who feel that they would rather want to hand over that responsibility of making sure that the information is sound, information that you can trust? How would you support that client that doesn't necessarily want to do their own inspections?
Yeah, brilliant question, Orchid. Thank you for asking that. That's where MAKROSAFE plays a huge role in our partnership with SafetyWallet. People that don't want to take that responsibility and then want to make sure that their system is set up correctly or whatever, then signs up for the various packages that's on my safety shop, where MAKROSAFE will physically go out and do monthly consulting, do the inspections, do the risk assessments, do your risk control measure checklist to ensure that the controls are actually adequate for the risk identified in the risk assessment. MAKROSAFE has got all that with the various, well, depending on what the client's needs are, we then formulate solutions for the client, and then the client gets MAKROSAFE on board to physically go and do monthly consultations. That's
really interesting. I think it would be great if we can get together again at some point to talk about My Safety Shop. I believe My Safety Shop is an extension of SafetyWallet, where some of the benefits are actually coming into play. But it would be great to have another conversation specifically with regards to My Safety Shop, to get a bit of history about it and how subscribers and non-subscribers to SafetyWallet can make use of My Safety Shop. Thank you for your time today, Leon and John, and I look forward to our next meeting.
Thank you, Orchid.
Thanks, Orchid.
And thank you, the viewer, for joining us on My Safety Hub. Tune in again next week for more insights into the world of occupational health and safety.